Today, we're taking 60 Sonic the Hedgehog characters and running them through the Squid Game.
Welcome to the Squid Game. We're excited for everyone to play.
Today's roster of contestants is as follows: Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Cream the Rabbit, Cheese, Rouge the Bat, Big the Cat, Froggy, E102 Gamma, E123 Omega, Shadow the Hedgehog, Maria Robotnik, Dr. Ivo Robotnik, Dr. Gerald Robotnik, Blaze the Cat, Silver the Hedgehog, Vector the Crocodile, Espio the Chameleon, Charmy B, Ray the Flying Squirrel, Mighty the Armadillo, Tikal, Metal Sonic, Chaos, Eggman Nega, Black Doom, Mephiles the Dark, Infinite, Zavik, Zaz, Zoman, Xena, Zor, Master Zik, Orbot, Cubot, Fang the Hunter, Bean the Dynamite, Bark the Polar Bear, Sage, Marine the Raccoon, Emerald, Honey the Cat, Jet the Hawk, Wave the Swallow, Storm the Albatross, Omo Chow, Sally Acorn, Bunny, Antoine, Rotor, Cosmo, Styx the Badger, Agent Stone, Wade, Princess Elise, Chip, Tangle the Lemur, and Merlina.
The following are the ground rules in this Squid Game. Number 1, no outside allies or sidekicks. 2, no outside weapons, with the sole exception of any equipment needed to survive. Number 3, no magic. 4, natural abilities are allowed. The first game is red light, green light. You may move forward when it shouts green light. Stop when it shouts red light. If your movement is detected afterwards, you will be eliminated.
Speed, composure, and general athletic ability are the most important skills in this round. But when you think about it, if you have enough speed, the other attributes don't really matter all that much. If you cross the finish line quick enough, the motion sensors are a total non-issue. In the world of Sonic, that means pretty much all the major playable characters are safe. Of course, some of them would use their spare time differently, while some characters like Shadow, Rouge, and Team Chaotix would be more concerned with getting themselves across and staying out of danger from then on. Team Sonic would be more likely to go back for some of the more vulnerable characters. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles would rush to help the less supersonic characters in the running, like Princess Elise and Wade. Other players in the running have allies of their own to watch over. Big the Cat and Cream would definitely rush to rescue Froggy and Cheese, respectively. But let's move on to this round's eliminations. These characters probably should not have entered the Squid Game. It's too bad they made such terrible financial decisions. But luckily, you don't have to end up like them, because today's sponsor, Coupert, can help you save money every time you shop online. Coupert is a totally free browser extension designed to help you get the best deals when shopping online. And the great thing about it is once it's installed, saving money is totally effortless. Actually, let me show you directly. I was just about to check out and buy something that I was already going to get. Coupert's automatic coupon testing will automatically find and apply the best coupon codes when you're checking out, so you always get the best price possible. But that's not all. You can also use the price comparison feature to check if the same product is cheaper on another platform or with a different retailer. That way, you never miss out on the better deal. But still, my favorite feature is the cashback rewards. If you activate an offer before purchasing, you'll get a portion of that commission deposited back into your account, and you can withdraw via PayPal, bank card, or gift card. Again, the reason why Coupert is so great is because it's free and it's effortless. Once it's installed, it's like a little assistant that saves you money whenever you're shopping online. Coupert supports Chrome, Edge, Opera, Firefox, and Safari on desktop and Safari on mobile. It has 6 million weekly active users and works with over 200,000 merchants worldwide, making it a trusted money-saving tool for savvy shoppers around the globe. So don't keep paying full price in 2025. Click the link in the description to install Coupert for free and start saving money today. The earlier you install, the sooner you start saving money. Thank you, Coupert, for sponsoring this video and making sure we don't go bankrupt and have to enter the Squid Game. You might think the series' big bad, Dr. Eggman, would have a tough time in this round, since he typically relies on robots to do his fighting for him. But since he's apparently athletic enough to compete with Sonic and his friends in the Olympics, we're gonna have to give him a pass. The same goes for his ancestor, Gerald Robotnik, whose motivation to win is to make sure Maria stays safe. Once the game's true nature was revealed, he'd definitely lock in to make sure his little girl gets through the game. But how would they find out about that true nature? Well, probably due to Styx the Badger. Styx is as paranoid as can be, and seems to think the government agents or other kinds of shadowy forces behind her comprehension are behind just about everything. Unfortunately, she's probably the type who would think the safest option was to play against the rules, since they were probably made up by pesky government agents anyway.
Player eliminated.
Of course, this would lead to quite a bit of panic among the remaining competitors. Xena is pretty ruthless, but she's also pretty self-absorbed, and would be more concerned with blood and dirt getting under her nails than anything else. We doubt she could handle this game's pressure.
Player you have been eliminated.
Zamam, on the other hand, would handle it just fine, which is why he's eliminated.
Player eliminated.
Because he'd definitely underestimate the danger and just start trying to eat some of his delicious blue-flavored competitors. Chaos was looking particularly appetizing on that fateful day. A fact I'm sure Omochao is very grateful for. E123 Omega would use the game's deadly nature as a means of sabotaging his former boss, but thankfully for Eggman, he's got Orbot and Cubot to act as robot shields to warn him and prevent their boss's demise.
Player, you have been eliminated.
E123 would settle for eliminating what he saw as inferior models. It sucks for him to lose the robot companions who don't have that pesky free will thing going on, but it's a sacrifice he's willing to make. Finally, Storm is down for the count as well. He has the childlike intellect of Rotom and the impatience and arrogance of Jet, which is a pretty deadly combination that we don't even think his teammates could help him with.
53 out of 60 players remain. Let's move on to the next game, Honeycomb. Players must cut out the shape from their cookies. Those who break their cookie or run out of time will be eliminated.
Patience, steady hands, and dexterity will come in handy here, as will general resourcefulness and creativity. Needless to say, Tails has this one in the bag. He's probably the most shaken up of Team Sonic, but as their mechanical expert, Tails is as tactile and sharp as they come. The dude is like 10 and already has his own plane and a whole bunch of other gadgets he built. While Tails is the most famous mechanic in Sonic, Rotor, Wave, and Fang would also pass this round pretty easily. Fang is particularly impressive since he's known for inventing plenty of gadgets he uses to help on his various heists. He'd be willing to help Bean and Bark if they really needed it, but only if they agreed to give him a sizable portion of their share, if they win the whole game. Rouge is another skilled treasure hunter who will have an easy time here thanks to all her heist experience. The two biggest bads, Dr. Eggman and Gerald Robotnik, pass easily for their own expertise in the world of robotics. By extension, we also think Maria and Shadow would do well since they spent a lot of time together during their time on the Ark. And of course, we can't forget about Agent Stone, who's known for making some seriously great lattes. If anyone couldn't carve their cookie on their own, they could always use connections with other players who can. For example, Froggy is not going to be masterfully cutting out an umbrella shape, but Big is patient, as evidenced by his enjoyment of fishing in general, so he could handle both. If you don't have friendship, there's always manipulation, a fact that villains like Merlina and Black Doom would use to their advantage, using skills of deception and intimidation respectively. Infinite's ego isn't quite killing him yet, since he was known even before turning into that as a skillful mercenary, a task that requires confidence and skill in a lot of different areas. And last but not least is Mephiles, who would use his own manipulation skills to not just survive the round, but to place seeds of doubt in the minds of other players, doing his best to get them on his side. Not everyone is safe this round though. Emerald, being a robot, has the skill to win this game, but knowing him, he'd prefer to do good by helping scared players carve their cookies first, unfortunately using up all the time he had available and helping them.
Player, you have been eliminated.
Another robot who'd be too helpful for his own good is Omochao, known for being the second most all-knowing being in the Sonic franchise next to Big the Cat. Omochao would be making sure that Sonic and his friends knew exactly how to carve their cookies properly. This might just lead to some annoyance on some players' ends, but it would be a surefire death sentence with villains like Zavik and Eggman still in the running.
Player, you have been eliminated.
Sage also goes down here.
Player eliminated.
Being an AI, she doesn't seem to have a physical form and acts through manipulating technology. Unless this needle is secretly some kind of high-tech spy gear, she won't be able to use it. And while she is manipulative, most of the other players already have allies of their own they need to help. Zaz is the Deadly Six's loose cannon, and since he's known for choosing violence in basically every situation, we highly doubt he'd be able to keep a cool head long enough to carve his cookie.
Player, you have been eliminated.
As for Tangle, she's also reckless, just in a different way. Tangle is adventurous and optimistic, never fearing danger, even blatant danger like this. Knowing her, she'd try and carve the cookie while holding the needle with her tail just to show off. And despite that being her reason for elimination, she did come pretty close.
Player, you have been eliminated.
And finally, E102 gets taken out here. E123 Omega nicely offered to grab his cookie from the front for him, only to sabotage it afterwards. And by sabotage, I mean throw it like a frisbee. He caught it, but not in one piece.
Player, you have been eliminated. 47 players remain. It's time for our next game, six-legged pentathlon. The rules are as follows. Players will split up into groups of 5, tie their legs together, and move in tandem around a track. Every 10 meters, one player will play a mini-game until it is completed, with each member playing once. The goal is to complete all games in the allotted time, repeating each one until it is complete.
Here are the mini-games. Diaki, throw a paper tile at the ground to flip over another paper tile. Flying stone, throw a small stone at another small stone and knock it down. Gongi, a traditional game of Korean jacks. Spinning top, and Jeggi, kick a Jeggi in the air 5 times in a row, kinda like hacky sack. Balance, composure, and general gaming prowess are important characteristics for this game, but arguably most important is teamwork and the ability to put together a good team. This will be the point in the game where alliances and teams start to be formed. Of course, some of them don't need to do much thinking. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and Rouge have been friends and allies for a good while, so they'd have no issue working together. This isn't even unfamiliar territory for them. Not only do each of them have extremely valuable skill sets involving precision, strength, and intellect, but they also regularly compete in Olympic-styled events, so they're definitely surviving here.
Happy to see you're all still alive.
Of course, so are the major villains. Eggman, Gerald, and Black Doom are linked together already, since Gerald has already proverbially made a deal with the devil. They'd probably pass anyway, and the same goes for Shadow and Maria, who have probably played games similar to these together. We feel like Blaze and Sally Acorn would get along well since they're both royalty. Level heads and leadership skills make each of them willing to work with one another, and they'd probably accept Merlina into their ranks too, since she hasn't revealed her true nature quite yet. Mephiles is definitely going to be taking advantage of his manipulation tactics to get Elise on his side, so these two are safe for now. He'd probably also manage to get Wade on his team, who's so well-meaning that he wouldn't even realize Mephiles was pretty blatantly evil. Finally, despite his small size, Chip's powerful telekinesis would make him one of the more enviable teammates to have in the game. We could see Cream and Cheese teaming up with him out of sympathy, only for their kindness to be rewarded very handsomely. But as it turns out, not everybody can find a team to work with. The most notable losers in this round are, in a tragic twist of fate, Big the Cat and Froggy. Even if the other players were willing to team up with Big, the simple fact is that Big wouldn't be willing to leave Froggy behind. So unfortunately, they both fall here.
Players eliminated.
And for the last eliminations of the round, we have what I like to call team leftovers. For the players who did find a team, but not one strong enough to win. Cosmo's self-hatred made it tough for her to find a team, and Agent Stone found out the hard way that this variant of Dr. Eggman doesn't have much of a caring side to him.
Players eliminated.
And who are the unlucky 3 who got saddled with these two? Mephiles, Elise, and Wade. Hey, we said they were safe for now. Elise and Wade were the only other players naive and or scared enough to trust Mephiles. Neither Cosmo nor Stone trusted him, but they were forced to team up when the clock wound down. Of course, the game was irrelevant to Mephiles, who only wanted to fuse with Iblis and finally get another chance to become a god. But it turns out that's against the rules in Squid Game. Who knew?
Players eliminated. 40 players remain. Our next game is Mingle. Here are the rules. Players will stand on a rotating platform in the center of a large circular room. At any given moment, a number will be called out, at which point players have 30 seconds to get into groups of said number and secure a room for themselves. Any player who does not find a room with the correct number of players will be eliminated.
Speed, composure, and ruthlessness are your best friends in this round. Which characters are able to make sure they get a room, and which ones would actually do what it took to go through with it? As expected, Team Sonic is safe in this round. Sonic, Tails, Amy, and Knuckles are all fast enough to make sure they secure rooms for themselves. Splitting up and grabbing other players is needed. With Tails' intellect, Knuckles' brawn, Sonic's speed, and Amy's, aminess, they'll all pass the round pretty easily. The same goes for Ray and Mighty, whose strength and speed-based friendship makes them a force to be reckoned with in this game. Though they wouldn't sabotage others, they'd certainly do what was needed to survive. And it's about time we give the comic and cartoon reps some credit too. Antoine, Bunny, Rotor, and Sally all passed this round. Growing up as freedom fighters, they're used to defending themselves and others against danger. On top of that, Bunny is basically a cyborg too, which means a lot of extra durability and strength. And on that note, Metal Sonic won't have any issues passing this round. Built as a robot whose speed can rival Sonic himself, find his way into a room in no time. We think he'd be smart enough to use this as an opportunity to sabotage E123 Omega, who's been gunning for him for quite a while.
Player, you have been eliminated.
Eggman is ruthless enough to secure a room for himself and would likely take some weaker players out of the running in the process. Among his victims would be Marine and Honey.
Players eliminated.
As for Gerald Robotnik, we feel like Black Doom would use this game as an opportunity to hold Maria's life as leverage against him, essentially sacrificing Gerald in exchange for saving Maria during that 2-round.
Player, you have been eliminated.
On that note, Zavik and Master Zik outlive Zor as the Deadly Six last remaining players, since they actually want to survive, after all.
Player, you have been eliminated.
Not every team is quite so dedicated though. In particular, Fang's gang has grown tired of their leader being willing to blackmail them whenever it's convenient. Bark and Bean are teaming up and prioritizing their own safety, which means Fang is on his own. Without weapons or vehicles to carry him, it's time to say farewell to Fang.
Player eliminated.
And like usual, we of course have some noble sacrifices. Cream, in a moment of desperation, tosses cheese into Amy's arms during that 2-round, allowing the two of them to live on.
Player, you have been eliminated.
That left Charmy vulnerable, but Sonic managed to save him for that round. Unfortunately, in all the chaos caused by psychopaths like Infinite, Black Doom, and Eggman Nega, Charmy wouldn't be strong enough to make his way back to the other Chaotix members, despite Vector trying his hardest to grab him at the last second.
Player, you have been eliminated.
Chip is the kind of guy who'd give up his spot if you just ask nicely, mainly considering the fact that he's immortal and doesn't really need to worry about whether or not he wins.
Player eliminated.
Finally, we feel like this is the end of the road for Silver, who's still feeling a little guilty about being manipulated by Mephiles. He's determined to make the future better for others, so we feel he'd try and prevent some of the really bad guys from moving on.
Player, you have been eliminated.
While we doubt he'd win a direct fight against Infinite, the latter's ego wouldn't let him refuse the opportunity to prove himself in a duel, a distraction that would lead to both of their ends.
Player eliminated. 29 players remain. It's time for the next game, Hide and Seek. Players will be separated into 2 teams, Hiders Blue and Seekers Red. Seekers will be given a knife with the requirement of killing at least 1 hider within the time limit. Hiders will be given one of 3 keys, gaining access to various doors and hiding places throughout the arena. They must either find a 3-keyed exit before time is up, or simply stay alive for 30 minutes.
For this game, roles are selected randomly, and players have a few moments to swap teams if they choose, but only if 2 players mutually agree. With that said, here's how we think the teams would pan out. The hiders include Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Cheese, Maria, Dr. Eggman, SBO, Mighty, Tikal, Jet, Wave, Sally, Antoine, and Rotor. And the Seekers include Rouge, Shadow, Blaze, Vector, Ray, Metal Sonic, Eggman, Nega, Black Doom, Zavik, Master Zik, Bean, Bark, Bunny, and Merlina. Hiders will want stealth on their side, but if they run into a Seeker, they'll either need the speed to outrun them, or the strength to defend themselves. Seekers will need strength and speed for obvious reasons, but also the sheer brutality to kill their victim. SBO, any way you look at it, was made to win this round. He has a cool head, and more importantly, is a chameleon, meaning his whole shtick is blending in with his surroundings. Sonic could survive by sheer speed. Even if you find him, good luck catching him. As for the Seekers, there are several who, right off the bat, we're sure would be willing to kill an opponent. Black Doom, Eggman Nega, and Metal Sonic come to mind, being unambiguous villains. While Dr. Eggman decided that being a hider was the best choice for now, Eggman Nega would see fit to eliminate the guy who besmirched his family's reputation as evil scientists.
Player, you have been eliminated.
Yes, we've thought about the timeline implications, but we've decided to ignore them. Other easy targets at this point include Sally, who offered her life to Black Doom in exchange for her friends being spared, and Tikal, whose peacemaking nature didn't work on Metal Sonic.
Players eliminated.
On a similar note, when Black Doom overwhelmed Team Sonic and offered salvation in exchange for Cheese's life, Amy offered herself instead, not wanting Cream to have been eliminated in vain.
Player eliminated.
Ironically, despite Bunny trading roles with Antoine so he wouldn't have to take a life, he'd end up dying to defend against Zavik. Tragically for him, Master Zik would help Zavik launch a pincer attack on the Freedom Fighters, leaving Antoine and Rotor eliminated.
Player, you have been eliminated.
And as you may have noticed, Bunny isn't the only good-natured person amongst the Seekers. Rouge, Blaze, Vector, and Ray all took on the burden of being Seekers so their friends wouldn't have to, but none of them were willing to take an innocent person's life.
Player, you have been eliminated.
As for Bean and Bark, in a moment of sheer desperation, they attacked Jet and Wave. Bean narrowly won thanks to his inexplicable supply of explosives he pulls out of thin air, but due to his shyness, Bark was sadly defeated by Jet in self-defense, sealing his fate.
Player, you have been eliminated.
And the last Seeker who fails is Merlina, whose attempt on Maria's life would no doubt earn her a swift end at the hands of Shadow. But unfortunately, that means our favorite Hedgehog edgelord is disqualified for attacking a fellow Seeker.
14 players remain. It's time for the next game. Marbles. You will play the game of your choice with your partner. The player to take all 10 marbles wins. The loser will be eliminated.
Players pair up in teams of 2. However, it's revealed that they'll be playing against each other, meaning your opponent is likely the person in the game closest to you. You can play a game of luck or a game of skill. You can play fair or you can play dirty. But one thing is for sure, whoever you're teamed up with is going to have to die in order for you to live. And Sonic vs. Tails is the first matchup. Tails could, by all means, outsmart Sonic. On the other hand, Sonic could by all means win most types of physical games against Tails. The only solution where neither of them are haunted by guilt for the rest of their lives is a guessing game. And while it would be close, we feel like Tails would manage to tell a little white lie about his hand that wouldn't get past Sonic, allowing him to move forward.
Player eliminated.
Next is Knuckles versus Jet, and these two have both been through it today, having already lost several friends. But on top of that, Knuckles is known for being easily fooled.
Relax, chill. I think it's time for a little fun.
Jet is extremely arrogant, but he would manage to survive this round at least.
Player, you have been eliminated.
Maria versus Cheese. Okay, there's really no good way to end this game. The moment the true nature of this round was revealed, Maria immediately rushed to the guards and begged them to shoot her instead of Cheese, only for Cheese to drop all of his marbles on the ground, effectively claiming Maria as the winner, since she still had her marbles after all. Mighty versus Espio. Another case of grieving players pitted against each other. Espio is certainly devastated by this point, but he's also fairly level-headed. Mighty is already known for being reserved and sensitive, but after losing his best friend, we doubt the poor guy's got much of a poker face left.
Player, you have been eliminated.
Eggman Nega versus Metal Sonic. Eggman Nega made an improved version of Metal Sonic. If anyone knew how to make him useful as an ally, it would be him. And if anyone knew how to sabotage him as an opponent, it would also be him. So Metal Sonic is out.
Player eliminated.
Zavik versus Master Zik. These two respect each other, probably more so than any other members of the Deadly Six. Master Zik could probably outsmart Zavik with ease, but knowing him, he would prefer Zavik stay alive so the Zeddy could move on.
Player, you have been eliminated.
Finally, we have the last match of this round, Bean versus Black Doom. I kinda feel like Black Doom wins this one, given how he's a straight-up demon lord. I feel like he could beat a hyperactive bird who likes explosives.
Player, you have been eliminated. 7 players remain. It's time to move on to our penultimate game, Jump Rope. In this game, players must cross a dangerous bridge while making sure they aren't knocked off by a gigantic double Dutch-style jump rope. They'd best be careful, because the rope speeds up over time, and they only have 20 minutes to cross.
Unlike last stepping stones, there's no reliance on luck here, just sheer agility, speed, and composure. You'll need courage, balance, and good timing to get through this round. People with kind hearts could help weaker players cross, but those with a more mischievous nature could easily sabotage the game to help their own chances. But real quick, let's see who's still standing at the moment. Sonic, Jet, Maria, Espio, Eggman, Nega, Zavik, and Black Doom. Now, I think we all know that Sonic has had it rough today.
I really am alone.
He's lost all of his closest friends in these games, so we feel like he'd prioritize getting across safely with Maria, so that, if nothing else, not all of their deaths were in vain. Jet, Espio, and Zavik are fast enough to get across quickly. That leaves our two biggest baddies remaining, Black Doom and Eggman Nega. Ruthless as he is, Eggman Nega wouldn't hesitate to deal with the devil here, so Black Doom would lend him some of his own strength, in exchange for shared dominion over the world. Of course, Black Doom has a goal much more unfavorable for the Doctor than that, but there's no reason he needs to know that now.
7 players remain. It is now time for the final round. Prepare for our final game. Squid Game.
This game is designed for at least 4 players with at least 3 eliminations. Players press a button on each tower to begin the round, after which they will have a set amount of time to push at least one living player off the tower. Once a player is pushed off, the others may move to the next tower. However many players are left in the final circle-shaped tower when the clock runs out, after at least one player was eliminated, will be crowned the winner or winners of the Squid Game. The remaining players can either depend on diplomacy to decide which players to gang up on, or they can just jump into a full-on brawl and see how things turn out. And we start on the square tower. The match starts with a vicious Black Doom tossing Eggman Nega off the tower.
Player, you have been eliminated.
And just like Jian, he neglected to push the button first. The only difference is, Black Doom did this intentionally, giving the remaining players every reason to cooperate if they didn't all want to die. Jet, being both totally arrogant and completely destroyed from the loss of his 2 best friends, didn't hesitate to press the button and challenge Black Doom, which quickly proved to be a fatal mistake.
Player eliminated.
Which brings everybody to the Triangle Tower. This next tower would be Zavik's time to shine, whereas Black Doom wants nothing more than to eat the world. Zavik wants to destroy it in revenge. Thus, an alliance is formed. It's Zavik and Black Doom versus Sonic and Maria. Oh right, and Espio is here too. We kinda forgot about him. So did Zavik, evidenced by him tripping over the invisible chameleon and allowing the final 4 to move on. But not before Black Doom callously tossed Espio off the second tower. Which brings us to our final tower, the Circle Tower. And with that, things look pretty bleak. Black Doom has intimidated, manipulated, and straight up eradicated his way to the final round, leaving Sonic and Maria face to face with the devil himself. Sonic would spar with Black Doom in an attempt to avenge his fallen friends and foes, but he'd quickly realize something very important. The people behind the games themselves were the ones responsible. Despite Maria's pleas to simply let her be the one to sacrifice herself, Sonic had one last gambit to save her. He tried to reason with Black Doom that if he wanted to eat people, at least eat the people sickening enough to put on this kind of messed up game. Similarly, Black Doom agreed to this, offering Sonic a respectful handshake. But on the inside, he was still full of malice, fully intending to destroy the world. Yeah, Sonic should not have accepted that handshake. And as much as we hate to say it, things don't look much better for Maria.
Player, you have been eliminated.
Thank you again, Coupert, for sponsoring us today. Make sure to click the link in the description to install Coupert and start saving money while shopping online today.
When one player has too much power and too little goodness in their heart, a happy ending is all but impossible. We'd congratulate Black Doom for winning the Squid Game, but his performance was so despicable, even the VIPs are probably gonna need counseling after it.